Vallabh Bhansali as well joining in. Ashwini Agarwal of Ashmore is with us, and Vetri Subramaniam of UT Asset Management is joining us in just a bit. Mr. Bhansali, thank you very much. Your first thoughts, sir, two things that could have disappointed the market: capital gains tax, but coming grandfathered, and a higher than expected fiscal deficit.
Well, the market doesn't seem to suggest that it is disappointed at all. It took some time to understand, but I think when you are getting a grandfathering mechanism at the highest market ever been, what is there to complain? And after the data that came out, that 3.67 lakh crores was the exempt income on account of long-term capital gains tax, at a time when everyone is paying GST in the country, a 10% tax is neither here nor there, and the market correctly has just moved on. From that point of view. So, and on the fiscal deficit, I think one needs to understand that a country which had introduction of bank recapitalization and GST and was absorbing the slowdown caused by demonetization, to be able to contain the deficit at around 3.5% last year and projecting 3.3 next year, I think in a developed economy is I think absolutely fine. And the bond markets as well as the equity markets seem to have absorbed that well. So I am extremely excited about the budget.
And do you think that the cheer in the capital markets will continue? You think inflows into mutual funds will continue despite this overhang of tax? Or do you think now debt gets more attractive?
So there's a knee-jerk reaction. One will have to read all the fine print, and because the way tax will be computed will take some time to understand. But the budget will not have made any impact on whatever was happening. So we'll go back to fundamentals. We will get used to that there's a 10% tax. I have seen enough markets where taxes come and go. As long as the fundamentals are strong, people still do business, people still make investments, money will continue to go into mutual funds. That as an asset class has come to be established. 10% tax is a completely non-event according to me.
Mr. Bhansali, so that is the tax part, but what about the bit about the fiscal deficit, the spending? Latha was talking about possibility of what the RBI may do. Is that something to worry about? Or, the market is rightly showing us a reaction that it's not worried, and we should not be.
So in an election year, your fears can be much worse. That, what sort of populism will come in, what sort of subsidies, etc., will be given out. So here, I think if you see that a very systematic approach to spending at the ground level and farmer support has been made. That, can we take jobs, can we take clusters, can we take infrastructure, etc., all together, and use that to push the demand in the economy, which has been the major problem. Why our investment cycle is not getting pushed is because our capacities were not being utilized. And they can't get utilized till demand comes up. And the demand in India doesn't come up until the rural sector, agricultural sector comes up. So I think you needed to put money there. As you already created a very powerful incentive for the formal part of the economy through GST, etc. So I think everything is just falling into place. So I think given all of that, the slight alteration of the fiscal path to 3.3%, and if you ask me, I expect that, I think that the finance minister may have been a little probably aggressive in estimating 20,000 crores as from capital gains tax. I don't think it'll end up that much there. But I think we will make much more on direct tax collection and on GST, and therefore the 3.3 will be well contained. Is my estimate, and I think the bond markets also seem to think so. Therefore, I think world over you will find experts accepting this number and appreciating this kind of budget.
We are going to reach out to many of them, sir. Thank you very much for joining in and giving us your first thoughts, Mr. Bhansali, on the budget. Speaking of course,